Hi guys, when you start your Paul Klee picture, you're going to need a few things to start. Obviously, you're going to need your picture, which I've started this one, but I'm going to use this to explain how I created this one. You're going to need two paper plates. One is going to be your mixing plate. One is going to be your paint plate, okay, that you'll put a squirt of tempera paint on. You can see I've used my analogous colors on this one, yellow, red, orange, brown, and I have some white and black. So you only need one squirt of the paint from the paint jugs. I happened to pour it because I was cleaning out the pumps for you guys, so I got a little bit more. You don't need this much, okay? So I shouldn't see paint filling the plate, kind of like this one, but okay. So when we get going, and this will actually act as your lid, so you're gonna, when you clean up today, so you'll put your name on the back in Sharpie, and then when you're done at the end of the day, you'll just put a little piece of tape on this edge to make like a lid, and we will put it in a gallon Ziploc bag, and it should be fine for the next class so we don't waste paint. So you can see I've started. You also are going to need a couple of paper towels, a can of water, because while you're not going to mix like we did with the watercolor paintings, you're going to need to clean your brush out in between each color, like we do with watercolors. Okay, so I have my paint, I have my mixing plate, I've started to paint it in, and I just wanted to show you when you're painting with tempera paint, you don't need water, and you're going to be mixing your colors on the mixing plate. But I just wanted to show you when you're painting with tempera paint, I always dip my brush in the can first to get my brush a little bit wet, because it's always easier to clean up at the end and it doesn't stain the brushes. Okay, so I take my brush and I just dip the very tip of the brush. You can see I haven't smashed my brush in there, okay? And I always like to dab it on the edge of the plate to kind of get it worked into the brush. And when I'm painting, you'll notice that tempera paint, you only need the very tip of the brush. If you need to push harder than just getting paint on your paper from just using the tip, then you just need to put more paint on. Okay, you shouldn't be smashing the brush into the paper to get paint. And you can see I'm taking my time and I'm being as careful as I can to stay in my areas. Now the nice thing is, if you do go out of the area with tempera paint, it's so thick you can go back over top. The orange you can see is a little thin, and I'm going to go back over that one so it looks as nice and thick as this one, okay? Some are just more runny than others because of how much pigment they put in. The pigment is what makes the paint its color, okay? And some are just runnier than others. The brown happens to be really sticky like a glue, even after I put water in it, so it kind of goes with the territory, and that's what we want to learn, how to work with the paint. So in this block, I'm going to do like a peach color. I'm going to show you how I made the peach color. Now when you're mixing though, at first, don't worry about trying to get a certain color. I just want you to kind of mix two colors together on your plate so you can see how to mix on your plate. So I'm going to take some yellow and put it on here, and you're not going to need a whole lot. I'm just going to do two brushes of yellow, okay? And I'm going to get it on there really good. I'm going to clean out my brush so when I go to grab the red, I'm not contaminating all the paints and you know, turning my paint plate into a mixing plate, okay, as much as possible. It's going to happen a little bit, but try to keep it as neat as you can. Now the red is very runny, so I'm just going to use one brush of red, and I'm going to mix all this together. Now this is plenty of paint for this area I'm going to do, okay. So I just mix it in there, and you can see I actually used too much red, so I should have started out with a little drip of red. Okay, so I'm doing that to kind of clean it off my brush. I'm going to clean off my brush one more time. because I don't want that red. I want more yellow. So I'm going to grab some more yellow, and I'm actually going to mix the stuff that I brought over here. So now we're getting an orange, but now I want to add some white because when we add white to paint, it's called tinting the paint, and we add black. When we add black, it's called shading the paint or shading the color. So you can see now it's turning into like a peach color. Okay. And if I go to paint with this, I'm going to start down here. And that's pretty close to what I had on the original. Okay. Now I've gone over that line a little bit. That's okay. I can always fix that later. Don't panic if you make a mistake. That's the great thing about these kinds of paints is they're actually easier to work with than watercolor paint. Okay. So that's adding a tint to your paint, and then I did forget to put that line in, so I'll just draw it with my brush, and you can see how far a little bit of paint goes. I mean, I'm able to do this whole section with just this little bit I originally mixed up. Okay, now when you're using black though, you only need a like teeny little bit, like the very tip of the brush only, to start out with. Like, and I mean this much. That's all you start out with black, because watch how fast black will change and make a color dark. So you can see there, oops, sorry. You can see just by adding that little bit of black, okay, how fast that turned dark. And that's pretty similar to this color over here. Okay. And you'll just keep going, adding white and black. You can mix your colors first, then add the tints and the shades to them. And that's how you do the painting section. First you start off in the face. You can see I did the ear. I didn't do the ear, put the orange in here because I was trying to break it up so it wasn't all just solid base colors from the paints. I try to make it so it's a little bit more interesting. So while I say start from the middle and work out, if you want to do an ear or something that goes with your animal, like the trunk of the elephant or the mane of the horse, a little differently, like with one of your original 4 colors, that's fine too. We're just trying to make them look unique at the same time. So you'll just keep going and filling it in as you go and working your way through the picture. And once you get the inside portion done, then you'll do the outside portion. So that is about it. And happy painting.